Hey, what's up guys? Gons here for the Face Like the Sun YouTube channel. One of the things mentioned in Star Wars The Force Awakens is that stormtroopers are bred from birth to be loyal servants of the Galactic Empire, known in this incarnation as the First Order. The irony is that in real life, the conditioning that is occurring through outlets like Disney and especially the Star Wars series is precisely that, from birth. Young people are conditioned to accept the corporate slavery that is inherent with these large media monsters, as well as the corporatized government, which makes it that much more ironic that we saw stormtroopers escort the press secretary Josh Earnest back in December during a White House press conference. Nevertheless, the ties between hidden occult knowledge, which is much less hidden these days, and the Hollywood brainwashing regime is quite obvious, and while some of you might dismiss what I'm about to discuss as mere fantasy upon fantasy, the reality is that depiction of any characters, good or bad, are always drawn from ancient archetypes. In this case, the entire Star Wars mythos is based on the work of Joseph Campbell in The Hero's Journey. This isn't speculation, it's admitted by Lucas himself. Now, the same blueprint was used for the Matrix movies and other popular hit TV shows, as well as films. In other words, there's a deep psychological design for these media outlets that seem to resonate with the masses, and thus the popularity and success of these franchises. And for those of you who have seen the film, this might also explain why the motifs of history repeating itself was so relevant to the Star Wars The Force Awakens. Now, I'm not going to try to spoil anything too much here, and actually I won't spoil major things that are in the film, but I want to discuss with you one of the main villains in the film, Supreme Leader Snoke. Now, apart from being one vowel away from the name Snake, the identity of this mysterious character is pretty unclear. Well, I guess perhaps if you're a super ultra Star Wars nerd, you already have it all figured out, but for the rest of us, it's just a new villain to hate, or so we think. Recently, BuzzFeed and other internet scavengers threw out a theory that this Supreme Leader Snoke is actually the son of Emperor Palpatine. Now, according to Star Wars Wiki, Palpatine was described as Darth Sidious, a Force-sensitive human male who served as the last Supreme Chancellor of the Galactic Republic and the first Emperor of the Galactic Empire. Now, if you recall in The Revenge of the Sith, there's a scene when Palpatine is talking to Anakin, who becomes Darth Vader, about the Sith Lord named Plagueis. Remembered as Darth Plagueis the Wise, he was a male moon Dark Lord of the Sith and heir to the lineage of Darth Bane, trained by Darth Tenebrous. Plagueis mastered the art and science of midichlorian manipulation, and he was obsessed with eternal life as he experimented with ways to cheat death and create new life from the midichlorians. Now, that's super nerd Star Wars talk, so if you don't get all that, it doesn't matter. It's just stuff that's in the Star Wars wiki page. Getting back to the main point here. As the story goes, according to Palpatine in the scene, the dark side must always keep an apprentice whom all knowledge must be passed down to. In the case of Darth Plagueis, his apprentice was Darth Sidious, or Emperor Palpatine himself. He betrayed his master and killed Plagueis in his sleep. And as the theory goes, Palpatine had a son, Snoke, who he was raising with the expectation that one day they will rule the galaxy together. But in a sad twist of fate, Snoke failed to master the Force, and Palpatine was forced to seek another apprentice, namely Anakin Skywalker. Now, putting all that storyline stuff aside, there's something strange going on with this Snoke character. 4 things, actually. First off, the facial structure reflects very much of the classical alien gray. Second, he is shown to be extremely old and wise. Third, he has a large scar on the top of his head to his face. And fourth, he only appears as a holographic projection in The Force Awakens. Now, why do I bring any of this up? Because again, remember that Hollywood films are designed to reveal plans and actions of the satanic elite beforehand. Now, going through these points, Snoke looks like an alien gray. Well, we don't know if he's a non-human, but if this particular theory that he's the son of Palpatine is true, then clearly he is a half human, half something else. Now, this will be very familiar with those of us who study the Bible and dig into some of the more finer details that most people don't like to dig into. For example, the topic of the Nephilim. We find in Genesis 6 that the sons of God, these angelic beings that were fallen, that rebelled, mated with human women to produce a race of hybrid giants called Nephilim. Now, in this case, it would be backwards. The human will be the father and the angelic or non-human being the female. But we don't know about the female counterpart to Emperor Palpatine. So that part of it is obviously speculation upon speculation. But nevertheless, it's possible that Snoke himself reflects this idea of a Nephilim, of half human, half something else. And I say that because, again, according to the Star Wars wiki, Palpatine is considered a Force-sensitive human male. Now, if Snoke is in fact just human, he was clearly wounded pretty badly, and I'll get back to that point in a minute. Number 2, Snoke is shown as extremely old. Now, biblically speaking, there are some passages in the Bible, specifically in Revelation 17 and Daniel, that seem to reflect this idea that the beast system, those who will rule it, have some sort of ancient status. In particular, when you go to Revelation 17, verse 12, and the 10 horns that you saw are 10 kings who have not yet received royal power, but they are to receive authority as kings for 1 hour together with the beast. These are of one mind, and they hand over their power and authority to the beast. The idea here is the 10 kings who have not yet received royal power suggests that even in John's time as he was writing this, these 10 kings already existed, but they have not yet received their royal power. They were waiting for it. And so, whatever this beast system is, in reality, as it plays out, will be ancient in its origin, perhaps even playing into these ideas of revealing ancient forms of technology. Now, third, he has a large scar on the top of his head to his face. And this perhaps is the most obvious thing to point out. In Revelation 13, there's a big deal made about a mortal head wound. And while we don't know the entire backstory of Snoke, it's awfully strange that this scar is so prominent. If we go to Revelation 13, starting at verse 3, it says, one of its heads seemed to have a mortal head wound, but its mortal head wound was healed, and the whole earth marveled as they followed the beast. And then later on, starting in verse 12, it exercises all the authority of the first beast in its presence and makes the earth and its inhabitants worship the first beast whose mortal wound was healed. And again, the second beast, or this false prophet character, can be identified with a particular character in Star Wars The Force Awakens as well, but I'm not going to go there with this one, but I think those of you who saw the film might know who I'm talking about. And finally, Snoke is shown to be a holographic projection in the film, and this obviously fits nicely with the concept of the image of the beast, because later in Revelation 13, it says here, it was allowed to give breath to the image of the beast so that the image of the beast might even speak and might cause those who would not worship the image of the beast to be slain. And of course, it goes into the mark of the beast and all that stuff. Now, please understand, I'm not saying that Hollywood is telling us that the Antichrist is going to be the Supreme Leader Snoke, or that the Star Wars mythos is all true, as Han Solo so convincingly states during The Force Awakens. Rather, I'm suggesting that the patterns used to display such entities and even glorify them, and let's be honest, the villains are just as much glorified, if not more so, than the heroes in the Star Wars saga, think Darth Vader, is all part of a mental conditioning process. And while we may identify personally and cheer for the good guys or the good force in these films, the fact should not be overlooked that its portrayed villains could also very much be a projection of the essence of the Antichrist spirit. And so tying this back to what we saw in the White House with these stormtroopers escorting the White House press secretary Josh Earnest, on one hand, brilliant marketing, sure. But on the other hand, what's really going on? Disney, a large corporation that we know has nefarious origins and is very much responsible for influencing the youth with their hidden agendas of the occult, in conjunction with this government, an office that is clearly not trusted and has shown to be in place not for the interest of the people, but for its own agendas as well. What's the consistent pattern? There is an occult, hidden satanic agenda through and through. And again, since one of the tenets of the hidden occult is to project plainly to the masses what they plan to do and what is really going on, it's not surprising to show this Supreme Leader Snoke as this leader of the First Order to appear in the manner that he appeared. And again, while some of you are going to say this is just fantasy upon fantasy, I do think there are a lot of details that are probably overlooked by the masses that pertain to this hidden occult knowledge. And it's no surprise. We know that Hollywood has been helped by the CIA. We know that J.J. Abrams has produced things that reflect the satanic agenda. And if you look at his track record, you have Star Trek, Into Darkness, Super 8, Mission Impossible 3, Cloverfield, Armageddon. The man probably is studied up on the conspiracies, and he has probably been groomed to be in the spotlight in this manner to carry out a particular agenda. And that is to condition the masses with certain ideas, because ultimately, fiction is a perfect medium for people to suspend their disbelief and to reprogram young minds into accepting worldviews and ideas that are of the interest of Satan and his fallen ones. Thanks for watching my video. Please share it with friends, family, and whoever else you think might benefit from this information. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to the Face Like the Sun YouTube channel and dig around the archives. I have hundreds of videos covering topics ranging from angels, aliens, and the Antichrist to global conspiracies of the New World Order, eugenics, genetics, Genesis 6, the Nephilim, transhumanism, and much, much more. And don't forget to check out my full-length documentaries, Age of Deceit, Fallen Angels, and the New World Order, and Age of Deceit 2, Alchemy, and the Rise of the Beast Image, all of which you can watch for free right here on the Face Like the Sun YouTube channel. And if you want even more content, check out canarycryradio.com, our podcast where we investigate similar issues and interview all kinds of experts on several different topics. In fact, we just finished episode 100, which is 7 hours long, where we interview 26 people in one podcast episode. You can find the podcast at canarycryradio.com or go subscribe to the Canary Cry Radio YouTube channel. Again, thanks for watching and have an awesome day. God bless.